Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report. In today's show, I got the latest Raiders news and rumors. And unfortunately, I got to start the show off with some bad news around my dude, Karl Joseph, who is done for this season. So he suffered a season-ending injury on his game-sealing interception on Thursday Night Football against the Chargers. Just win, baby. After the game, he told reporters that he felt something wrong when he pushed off to jump for the INT against Phillip Rivers. Now, I watched the interview, and he was asked during the interview, was it your knee? Karl Joseph, I think, was just like in the light of the moment. He said, yes, it was his knee. However, reports have now come out that indicate it was actually his right foot. This is a major loss for the Oakland Raiders, and it's another hit to this defense. Losing Jonathan Abram, losing Karl Joseph. People will continue to doubt us, but here's the thing. Karl Joseph has played very, very well for this team, and I want you guys to show my man some love. So I want to everyone who's watching the Raiders Report right now, type 42 in the comments section because Karl Joseph has been absolutely playing his heart out, and I have some awesome, awesome stats to show you why Karl Joseph might be coming back next season, which is the question I'm going to ask right now. Is Karl Joseph going to be back with the Oakland Raiders in 2020? So remember, the Raiders declined Joseph's fifth-year option all the way back in May, and it's important to remember why the team did it. So Jon Gruden kind of explained during rookie minicamp that the team hasn't lost faith in Joseph and that there were other factors that went into making the decision. For example, Joseph's salary was set to jump to $6.466 million in 2020. The Raiders just simply wanted to make sure that the former first-round pick was worth that money. So now the fact that he was, placed on IR on Saturday, that begs the question, is Karl Joseph going to come back in 2020? I want you guys to let me know in the comments section. But I want to show you this quote first from Jon Gruden that was back in May. All that means is that we didn't exercise the fifth-year option. If you really study the fifth-year option and what it entails a lot. It does not mean by any means that we do not want Karl Joseph as a captain or as a leader on this team now or in the future. And I think that is a very, very important quote because there will be tons of rumors around Karl Joseph this entire offseason, who in 2019 has really stepped up for this team. 48 tackles behind only Tahir Whitehead, the one interception, the game winner, the one forced fumble recovery, and then the 3 passes deflected. But the biggest reason why I think that Karl Joseph should come back on this team is because of the leadership that he's shown. And also, man, the amount of snaps that this dude is playing is very, very noteworthy. So week 1, 85%. Yes, that's when we had, Jonathan Abram. Week 2, only 64%. Week 3, 97%. And then you're about to see a trend from week 4 all the way to week 10. We're about to lose a player. We lost a player who has played 100% of the defensive snaps on defense. Right now, our biggest weakness is giving up the big play. Right now, our biggest weakness is in the secondary. And losing a player like Karl Joseph is going to hurt. Losing a player like Karl Joseph, who in 2016 was regarded as a bust, but over the last 8 games of last season and over the last, 6-7 games of this season has really proven to be a leader, and that's why I told you guys to type 42 in the comments section. So here's the question. You ready? Will Karl Joseph be a Raider in 2020? I want you to type Y for yes, and I want you to type N for no. If you're going to type your Y for yes, tell me why you want Karl Joseph back. If you're going to type your N for no, let me know in the comments section why you want Karl Joseph back. Here on the Raiders Report, we are the most interactive YouTube channel for all Raiders content. And I'm going to ask you the tough questions because guess what? People are talking, and people are going to be talking about it the entire offseason. And make sure you guys don't miss anything this entire offseason by subscribing to the Oakland Raiders Report. It's youtube.com/Raiders Report. I want to get to 35K by December. If I get to 35K by December, I can go to Raiders versus Jags. And if you're a diehard Raider fan and you bleed silver and black, I want you to type Raider Nation for life in the comments section and if you subscribe. Speaking of subscribers, I've seen all these people commenting on my latest videos, and I get in the comments. So Chevy, Manuel Ray, Uni Soldier, Ian Swanson, France. You need a car, France? I saw the comments. DM me on Instagram at Mitchell Renz 365. But if you're subscribing to the channel, here's the thing. You got to get a picture. So get a picture. Let's go to the next thing. Lamarcus Joyner, is his injury serious? I'm hoping it's not, But Jon Gruden was quoted saying that he was really worried about Lamarcus Joyner. So Joyner went down with what is being described as a strained hamstring in the final series up against the Chargers. This is a major injury because, well, we just lost Karl Joseph, and now we could be potentially without Lamarcus Joyner. Now, he is considered week to week, but anytime I hear hamstring, anytime I hear a coach saying that he is seriously worried about a hamstring injury, that's concerning to me. Luckily for the Raiders, we have a long week, and we also have the Bengals, and we have the Jets. So if Lamarcus Joyner isn't 100% healthy, maybe it's time that they should rest him. But the Raiders, man, just can't catch a break, and everyone's going to keep doubting us. And heck, I had some people doubting me on my bets this week on with the Raiders and Chargers. Guess what? The Oakland Raiders got the dub again, and y'all should continue to bet on the Raiders. The Raiders right now are a very, very good bet. They've covered the spread 5 out of the last 6 weeks. The Raiders are 4-0 at home. Guess where we play this week? At home against the Bengals. Go to BetDSI, chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code Raiders120 for 120% deposit bonus. I had somebody today DM me that they put a bet down on the Raiders. If you bet on the Raiders, DM me. DM me because I love seeing when you guys support our sponsors. It's chatsports.com/bet. Let's go to some news here. The Raiders, they signed DJ Swearinger over the weekend on Saturday. I had some people ask me if it was true. Yes, it is. For Chucky Heads, believe it, baby. So they worked out Swearinger on Monday, if you remember, and if you watched the Raiders report. And I gave it to Chucky Heads whether or not they would sign him. I did say that I do expect them to sign DJ Swearinger over Treston DeCoud, who they also worked out on Monday. The biggest reason why I think they went with Swearinger is because I think John went over to his brother Jay and was like, hey, man, what do you think about this kid, DJ? He was probably like, well, back in 2018, he was really, really good. The issue is he was not very good this season with the Cardinals, and they cut him after 4 games. And I know some people out there support Pro Football Focus. They kind of rip on the Raiders, but I like this stat here. Swearinger allowed a passer rating of 145.3 this season. The highest that goes is 158.3. That's not very good. Now, I think that the Cardinals were confusing Swearinger a little bit, but I actually think now, with the loss of Karl Joseph, he is going to fit into our secondary. So here's what our secondary looked like going in to week 10 up against the Chargers. We had Karl Joseph. Eric Harris really, really stepped up 2 interceptions. Should have had 3. Darryl Worley, Trayvon, Mullen both played 97% of the snaps. I think when you see Swearinger, I think ultimately he's just a depth player now. Or not a depth player, he's probably going to have to be a starter. But he's a veteran who's going to be able to come in and I think learn what our defense is trying to do. Let's go to another player that the Raiders signed on Saturday. Dion Jordan. And if you watch the Raiders report, I gave this one 3 Chucky Heads about 2 weeks ago. So Arden Key on IR. Josh Morrow's missed 2 straight games. The Raiders, we know that they are thin right now at the defensive line. The reports were that Dion Jordan, 273 pounds, 8% of body fat, feels good mentally. The issue has really never been, I think, Dion Jordan's physicality or physical appearance. It's can he put it together? Because he's not really been able to live up to the hype. I mean, you're looking at a former kid who was drafted 3rd overall in the NFL draft, has not been able to live up to it. However, I kind of got a very Darren Waller-ish feeling to this one. So if you don't know the whole Dion Jordan story, he served a 1-year suspension in 2015 for violating the league's performance-enhancing substance abuse policy for a 3rd time. But he was slapped with a spring 10-game suspension by the league for violating the PED policy for taking Adderall, okay? So a medication Jordan has been approved to take in the past for his ADHD. It seems like now the Raiders, they're confident in Dion Jordan, and I'm confident in him being able to make an impact on this defensive line. I mean, Benson Mayowa, 7 sacks, leads our team. Besides Benson Mayowa, we don't have a single other player that has actually more career sacks than Dion Jordan. Yes, I love me some Max Crosby. Yes, I've been telling you guys Cleveland's about to step it up. And I don't know if you see the Cleveland Burrow and Max Crosby new nickname, Salt and Pepper. I absolutely flippin' love it. But Dion Jordan is at least going to be able to add a little bit of depth here. And I think when you see the high upside that Darren Waller had, I think the Raiders are looking at their defensive line right now. They're saying, man, this kid's got some upside. Let's see if we can see it. So who's the better signing on Saturday? What do you think's the better signing? I want you to type S for DJ Swearinger, or I want you to type J for Dion Jordan. Jordan's going to help the defensive line. Swearinger's definitely going to help us fill in on the secondary. If you ask me, I'm going to type my S for Swearinger. I just think it's a bigger fit right now. However, long term, I think you could be looking at Dion Jordan as being the better signing. So we are also live on Facebook. We have the #1 Facebook show because of loyal people like Kevin, like Joe, like Jason, Crystal, Gary. If you want to become a top Facebook fan, the easiest ways to do it, first, you got to like the Facebook page. It's down below. It's facebook.com/JustWinBabyRaiders. Also, if the more you share, the more you comment, the more you like, the more you interact, that's how you become a top Facebook fan. Also want to give a special shout out to some Instagram followers that hit me up this weekend. The boy, John, Quad, MB, and my dude, James, 21. I see you down there. If you guys want to get a shout-out on the show, give me a follow on Instagram, at Mitchell Renz 365. I'm trying to get to 10K followers. I'm like 400 away, so help me get there. Let's go. Last rumor. Darryl Worley is my man playing safety. So there was a report about 2 weeks ago that John kind of wants to get him a little bit more involved, doing some different things, kind of be that Swiss Army knife. Now, there was a report this week that the Raiders are thinking about transitioning Worley to safety. The biggest reasons, Karl Joseph, out. Jonathan Abram, obviously out. Lamarcus Joyner, week to week, could be out. The big thing to note here is, if this happens with the Raiders, you're going to probably see Worley play a little bit of nickel. Then we're also going to be pointing the finger at Isaiah Johnson, at Trayvon Mullen, who could be looking at getting their first starts as rookies. Now, sure, it's against the Bengals, sure, it's against the Jets, but they are still NFL-caliber teams. I think this is a good sign for Mullen, who's been playing very well, played 97% of the snaps, and Isaiah Johnson gives him a big opportunity against two weaker teams. The future is bright for this young squad, and I'm excited to see what we do up against the Bengals in Week 11. Now, just because the Raiders are 5-4, I don't think it's time to sleep on any teams in the NFL. We got to go take care of business against the Bengals. I think we're going to beat the Bengals. The Jets at the Chiefs will be a tough game. Versus the Titans, versus the Jags. I'll be at the Jags game, so if anybody's going to be at the Jags game, hit me up on IG. Let me know you're going to go there. We can sync up, grab some beers. First round is always on me. So if you see below, the Raiders are 4-0 at home this season. Well, guess what? Week 11 versus the Bengals, they're also home. And right now they are favorited by 8.5 points on BetDSI. And I've seen the Bengals play. And I've seen the Raiders play. I'm going to take the Raiders to cover that spread. 8.5 over the Bengals. The over-under in that game is 48. I'm actually going to take the over in that as well. Go to BetDSI, chatsports.com/bet, and use that promo code Raiders120 for 120% deposit bonus. You do that for me? I hope so. So I want you guys to predict the score before I go. Raiders versus Bengals. 8.5 point favorites here by the Raiders. The over-under is 48. The Raiders are 4-0 at home. We've covered the spread, I believe, 5 out of the last 6 games. The biggest thing to note here is there's a lot of playoff hype. There's a lot of hype going around the Raiders. I'm going to use a word. I'm not going to say the coach who said it, but we're on to Cincinnati. This is going to be a fun season, and make sure you guys subscribe to the Raiders Report because we're going to be dropping new videos the entire season. It's youtube.com/Raiders Report. If you made it this far in the video, I want you to subscribe to the Oakland Raiders Report, the #1 Raiders show on YouTube because of the nation. And if you want to watch more videos from me, I want you to watch this next video over here and then be like, hey man, I'll watch this one as well down here. Raider Nation, I love you. That one's for Chucky Heads. Believe it, baby.